Hello everyone and welcome back to another episode of the Current Connect series. In today's episode, we will cover the latest developments for the month of November. So let's get started. In the first topic, we are discussing a crucial topic, that is the right to information or the RTI and its recent developments in the political scenario. So the Supreme Court recently issued a directive to both the center and the state governments, which emphasizes the urgent need to fill the vacancies of Central Information Commission or the CICs and the State Information Commission or the SICs, right? The court also expressed the concern that the non-fulfillment of these positions, that is the CIC and SICs, could render the Right to Information Act of 2005 ineffective, turning it into what they termed as a dead letter. So, despite a 2019 judgment which urges the same, the vacancies in the commission still persist, which is leading to a backlog of cases and a significant delays in appeals and complaint resolution, isn't it? Now let's understand the role of Central Information Commission. So it was established in 2005 under the RTI Act, which means it is a statutory body and it holds jurisdiction over all the central public authorities. However, the recent amendments in 2019 have brought some changes in the tenure and salary structure of CIC and the Information Commission or the ICs at both center and the state levels, right? It allows the central government, that is the amendment, it allows the central government to determine the term and salary of both CIC and the ICs or the Information Commission through various rules. And notably, the term was now reduced to 3 years, right? And earlier, the 2005 Act gave them a fixed tenure of 5 years or a retirement age of 65 years, whichever is earlier. But now it is only 3 years. Now let's take a step back and grasp the essence of RTI. Well, it empowers every citizen, Indian citizen, to request information from government offices and departments which are crucial for public knowledge, right? And the origin of the RTI can be traced back to a 1986 Supreme Court judgment which linked it with the freedom of speech and expression promised under Article 19 of the Constitution, right? It replaced the RTI Act of 2005, it replaced the Freedom of Information Act 2002, and the nodal agency responsible for the implementation of RTI Act is the Department of Personnel and Training or DOPT under Ministry of Personnel, Public Grievances and Pensions, right? And now there is a Section 8 in the RTI Act which specifies certain exemptions from disclosure of information. Additionally, there is a section called 24 Clause 2 which allows exemptions for intelligence and security agencies, right? And with specific exceptions for corruption and human rights violation. So recently, the central government through DOPT issued a notification under section 24 Clause 2 of RTI that I just mentioned to exempt Indian Computer Emergency Response Team or the CERT-in from the purview of RTI Act and added CERT-in in the second schedule of RTI Act. So however, you need to know that the information pertaining to allegation of corruption and human rights violation shall not be excluded. And also for your information, second schedule includes institutions like RAW, IB, etc. And after the inclusion of CERT-in, it has now 27 such agencies. So that is all about the RTI. Moving on, the next topic is on Election Commission of India's ECI's new innovation in a software system called ENCORE for the smooth conduct of the election procedures. Well, the Election Commission of India, to increase the efficiency and of electoral system of India, has developed an in-house software which is called the ENCORE, which stands for Enabling Communications on Real-Time Environment, right? And let's explore the key features of this software. The first feature is candidate nomination and affidavit processing, which allows returning officers to seamlessly handle candidate nomination and affidavit. It also facilitates tracking of voter turnouts and efficient management of election data as well, right? And the ENCORE scrutiny application enables returning officers to scrutinize candidate nominations online, which streamlines the process of making or marking them as accepted, rejected or withdrawn. And this aids in preparing the final list of the contesting candidates and assigning them symbols as well, right? And the candidate affidavit portal displays comprehensive information about a candidate's financial assets and liabilities as well. Additionally, the ENCORE nodal app allows various government departments to provide no objection certificates through this application, which ensures that political parties and candidates receive necessary permission for their rallies, road shows, and meetings as well, right? Now, before we conclude, let's discuss about the Election Commission of India itself. As you know, the ECI is a constitutional body which is established under Article 324 of the Indian Constitution. It comprises of 5 members and it oversees election to Parliament, state legislature, as well as officers of both President and Vice Presidents of India, right? And apart from its primary role of conducting election, the ECI also advises on post-election disqualification. It also resolves the disputes related to political parties, and it also implements the code of conduct which ensures fair play during elections. So that is all about the NCORE application and the role of ECI. Next topic is on Niti Aayog's Sathi project and another scheme which is launched as a Sathi portal. So Niti Aayog has taken a significant step towards transforming the education sector through its Sustainable Action for Transforming Human Capital in Education, or the Sathi project. It was launched initially in 2017 and its aim was to identify and build 3 role model states for school education. And the chosen states were Jharkhand, Odisha and Madhya Pradesh. And the first phase was completed in 2020 March. Now the second phase started, or that is the Sathi 2.0. It started from October 2020 and it's still ongoing. The Sathi initiative operates through a formal agreement with states which are funded by cost-sharing mechanism between the Niti Aayog and the participating states. Now, the project's goal is to uplift the standard of education by providing targeted assistance and support to the selected states, which fosters a conducive environment for educational growth. Right. Now, let's talk about the Sathi portal. The Sathi portal stands for Self-Assessment, Test and Help for Entrance Exams, which is a collaborative initiative by Ministry of Education and IIT Kanpur. And this portal aims to bridge the gap for students who face financial constraints in accessing expensive entrance exam guidance and coaching. Sathi offers preparation materials in English, Hindi and various other regional languages, which actually ensures the accessibility to a diverse range of students which are preparing for exams like NEET, JEE and so on, right? So Sathi portal and Sathi project are 2 different initiatives that you need to keep in mind. Next up, we will be discussing about the PMGTIS initiative and the Regional Rapid Transit System, or the RRTS project, and the completion of Eastern Dedicated Freight Corridor. The PMGTIS initiative recently completed 2 years since its inception in October 2021. Now let's discuss the essence of Gati Shakti plan. The PM Gati Shakti National Master Plan, or PMGS-NMP, is a visionary initiative which aims to provide multimodal connectivity infrastructure to various economic zones that are present across India. And these economic zones perform activities like manufacturing, value addition services, which actually form the backbone of the plan, right? And these economic zones also include textile clusters, pharmaceutical clusters, defense corridors, and various electronic parks. It also established a unified portal which brings together 16 ministries, including railways and roadways. And it covers 7 engines of the national infrastructure pipeline as well, which includes roads, railways, airports, the ports, mass transport, waterways, and logistic infrastructure. It is now establishing a seamless transportation connectivity through various modes as well. For example, it integrates various infrastructural schemes like Bharatmala, Sagarmala, inland waterway schemes, dry or land ports, etc. Right? So now let's talk about the launch of the first regional rapid transport system or transit system, RRTS. This project is a dedicated high-speed and high-capacity commuter service which is designed to connect the regional nodes in National Capital Region, or the NCR. The recent launch was in the form of Namo Bharat Rapid Transit Express, or the Namo Bharat Rapid X train, which covers a stretch of 17 km from Sahibabad to Tuhai Depot in Uttar Pradesh. The RRTS is different from both the metro and conventional railways because it caters to passengers seeking longer distance travel with fewer stops and higher speeds, right? Now, there is also the successful completion of the Eastern Dedicated Freight Corridor, or the EDFC, in October 2023. EDFC is a railway corridor designed for efficient goods transportation, and it aims to decongest the Indian railway network by separating the freight and passenger traffic, right? And it is implemented by the Dedicated Freight Corridor Corporation India Limited, DFCCIL, right? And this corridor is characterized by high speed and high capacity. Next topic is on the Leap Ahead initiative. So the Leap Ahead, which stands for Launchpad for Tech Entrepreneurs towards Accelerated Growth and Pioneering Ahead, is a comprehensive initiative which is aimed to selecting the tech startups and providing them with high quality mentorship, investment avenues, and global connections. It is strategically tailored for the tech startups that have achieved early traction in their business and have potential for future growth. And the program collaborates with key players in the ecosystem, which includes the Software Technology Parks of India or the STPI, the Indus Entrepreneurs TIE, and consortium of investors. Now, the STPI is a premier science and technology organization under the Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology or MITIC, and it plays a crucial role in promoting software exports and nurturing the tech startups ecosystem of India, right? So that is all about the Leap Ahead initiative. Next topic is on the recently released Adaptation Gap Report 2023, which is released by United Nations Environment Programme or UNEP. The report sheds light on the critical process of adaptation, which is a mean of reducing vulnerability to climate change and also enhancing the society's ability to absorb the impacts of the climate change. It also represents the disparity between implemented adaptation measures and the goals that are set by the society. Now let's explore the key highlights that are brought forward by the Adaptation Gap Report. The report indicates that the financial needs for adaptation are 10 to 18 times higher than the current public flows, and the adaptation finance gap is expanding, which is now estimated at around 194 to 366 billion annually US dollars annually. And the action plan on loss and damage has overlooked the non-economic losses as well, which include cultural and heritage loss and loss of indigenous knowledge. Along with that, 2% of gender-tagged international adaptation finance is gender responsive. So only 2% is gender-tagged international adaptation finance, which is actually gender responsive. In response to these identified challenges, the report also offers several key recommendations, such as mobilizing private investments through mechanisms like resilience bond and insurance, encourage the financing for the small and medium enterprises or the SMEs to stimulate the offerings of adaptation-relevant products and services, implementing Article 2.1c of the Paris Agreement, which ensures finance flows are consistent with the pathway towards low carbon and climate-resilient development. So that is all about the Adaptation Gap Report, which is released by the UNEP. Next, we are discussing the insights from the State of Climate Services Report 2023, released by the World Meteorological Organization or WM. The State of Climate Services Report 2023, with a central focus on health, highlights the impact of climate change on global health, particularly in vulnerable communities, right? And one striking revelation is from the report is the financing gap for addressing air pollution, which is the fourth largest killer by health risk factor. And surprisingly, only 2% of international climate finance commitments are dedicated to tackling this critical issue of air pollution. And despite the availability of climate information, the report highlights a concerning underutilization of this valuable data. While 74% of the national meteorological and hydrological surveys provide climate data to the health actors, the utilization of this information remains very limited, right? And the report offers valuable recommendations such as developing in-country capacities to improve the local knowledge, policy mandates for collaboration between health and meteorological actors, and raising awareness about the importance of climate information for health. Next, we are discussing about the completion of 25 years of the International Space Station. So, the journey of ISS began on November 20, 1998, when the Zarya module, Zarya means sunrise in Russian, launched from the Kazakhstan space launch pad, right? This marked the beginning of the International Space Station, and the ISS, as you may know, is a joint effort which involves European Space Agency, United States NASA, Japan's JAXA, and Canada's Space Agency, along with Russia's Roscosmos, right? And the ISS is orbiting the Earth at an average altitude of approximately 250 miles, which is mostly in the low Earth orbit. And interestingly, rather than being built on Earth and launched in one go, the ISS was assembled piece by piece in orbit through more than 40 missions. And this approach made the construction of such a huge structure feasible. And as you also know, the ISS holds immense scientific and exploratory significance as it facilitates the research that would be impossible elsewhere, right? And it contributes to the crucial studies like the studies in fluids, combustion, life support system, and radiation environment, which are key for future human space exploration, isn't it? In the meantime, India also has aspiration to set up its own space station. ISRO is currently planning a space station which will be weighing around 20 tons and will be providing accommodation for astronauts for 15 to 20 days in orbit of around 400 kilometers above Earth. And the proposed Bharatiya Antariksh Station or the Indian Space Station aligns with India's space ambitions, and with a directive from our Prime Minister to establish the station by 2035, India is set to make significant stride towards exploration in outer space, right? Now the next topic is on the recently released Global Tuberculosis Report or the TB Report 2023 by World Health Organization. In 2022, the reported global number of people newly diagnosed with TB reached 7.5 million. Despite the global efforts, the TB remained the world's second leading cause of death after the COVID-19. And the net reduction in TB incidence from 2015 to 2020 was 8.7%, which is far short of the WHO's end TB strategy, which aims towards 50% reduction by 2025. And in terms of the Asian countries, India, Indonesia, and Philippines account for nearly 60% of the reduction in numbers of people which are newly diagnosed with TB in 2020 to 2021, right? And this happened due to various government interventions. However, on the flip side, if you see, India alone represents 27% of the world's TB cases. Now, TB is caused by a bacteria called Mycobacterium tuberculosis, which primarily affect the lungs in form of pulmonary TB. And the common medications include isoniazid, rifampicin, and pyrazinamide, right? And for your information, BCG is the only licensed vaccine for TB prevention. It spreads through air from person to person, and that's a airborne disease and is associated with risk factors such as diabetes, HIV infection, undernutrition, and over tobacco use. The report also highlights the challenges posed by the drug-resistant TB, which includes multi-drug-resistant TB or MDR, extensively drug-resistant TB, XDR TB, and totally drug-resistant TB or the TBR TB. Right? So the MDR TB is resistant to at least isoniazid or rifampicin, while XDR TB is resistant to additional drugs, and TDR TB is resistant to all first and second line of TB drugs. The government has been taking various steps to prevent and combat TB, which also include National Strategic Plan for Tuberculosis Elimination for a period of 2017 to 2025, TB Mukt Panchayat Abhiyan initiative, and recently launched Nikshay Poshan Yojana to provide nutritional support to TB patients. Right. Next topic is on the discovery of a new layer at the outermost part of the Earth's core, named as the E' layer. So the formation of this layer is attributed to the infiltration of surface water into the Earth's interior, and the study concludes that the tectonic plates acting as a carrier of surface water played a crucial role in transporting this water to these great depths over geological time, right? And due to this, the hydrogen-rich and silicon-depleted layer has emerged towards the outer part of the outer core, which is now known as the E' layer. So that is, you need to know about the new layer that has formed around the outer core, that are found around the outer core, which is known as the E' layer. Next, we are discussing about the Red Sea, where an India-bound cargo ship named as Galaxy Leader has been hijacked by the Houthi rebels. So this recent event unfolded at approximately 150 kilometers off the coast of Yemen's port city, Hodeidah, near the coast of Eritrea. The Red Sea, as you may know, is a narrow waterway which connects the Suez Canal to Bab el-Mandeb Strait, right? And it holds immense geostrategic importance as well, because most of the world trade happens through this route. Now, this incident underscores the challenges and complexities faced by the vessels navigating with this crucial waterway. Approximately 93 to 100% of the Arabian countries' total exports pass through this Red Sea, which makes it a lifeline for international trade and energy segments. Nearly 10% of seaborne cargo, including significant Asian-European trade, happen through this vital waterway. And additionally, the presence of naval bases of both United States and China in Djibouti further highlights the geopolitical significance of this region, isn't it? Now, piracy has potential to deter trade along critical shipping routes, which is a cause of disrupting the global supply chains. It also poses a significant risk to sailors, the shipping industry, and the coastal states that border these zones, which impacts commerce as well as the safety of those which are involved in this area, right? And so for your exam, you need to remember the countries that are bordering the Red Sea, as this forms an important part of the geography syllabus in your GS paper. Next up, the Defense Ministry has granted acceptance of necessity for the development of an indigenous long-range surface-to-air missile or LRSAM defense system under Project Usha. Under the purview of DRDO, the Project Usha aims to bring the cutting-edge defense system into operational readiness by 2028-29. Okay, and the ambitious goal is to have the LRSAM system fully operational by 2028-29. And you must have heard about it that India at present relies on Russia's S-400 air defense system to secure its airspace. So, India is eyeing towards developing indigenous air defense system. And the LRSAM system will consist of 3 layers of surface-to-air missiles, each designed to engage targets at different ranges. And this layered approach will enhance the versatility as well as the effectiveness of the defense system, isn't it? And the project also underscores India's commitment to technological advancement in defense, which aligns with our nation's broader goal of self-sufficiency in defense manufacturing and production. Right? Finally, let's have a look at the defense exercises that are recently in news. First one is the annual India-Kazakhstan Joint Military Exercise, KAZIN 2023. It serves as a platform for the exchange of military expertise and geostrategies and strategic maneuvering technologies, fostering mutual understanding and collaboration between India and Kazakh armed forces. Next is Mitra Shakti, which is a joint military exercise between India and Sri Lanka. The Mitra Shakti 2023 edition involves joint training sessions, sharing of best practices, and the exchange of tactics to strengthen the interoperability between the Indian and Sri Lankan military. Finally, the exercise Vajra Prahar, which is a joint exercise conducted between the Indian Army and the US Army Special Forces. The Vajra Prahar focuses on enhancing the capabilities and coordination of the Indian and the US Army Special Forces with an emphasis on counter-terrorism operations, right? So, that brings us to the end of this episode of Current Connect. We hope this episode has provided you with valuable insights and knowledge about these crucial matters. Stay tuned for more updates in our next episode, where we will keep you informed about the latest developments in diverse fields, right? Thank you for joining us, and until next time, stay curious and keep exploring the world around you.